Hi, and welcome back to my channel. I'm going to try something different today. I haven't posted a long video in a while for many reasons, but I did start a journal. So I thought what I'd do is I would look through my journal for the past week. In this case, it's a little bit more than a week, and just talk about the things that I've done during the week, different scenarios where life gives you something that is totally unexpected. I mean, things happen, right? So back on the 16th, it was my husband's birthday, and we had been going to have friends over. Prior to that, I had been sick with a cold, and then, we live in the same house. My husband got this cold. And the couple that we were going to have over for his birthday dinner, she has very severe asthma. So we called her up and said, this is our situation here. Maybe we need to reschedule. So we ended up having a birthday dinner by ourselves, which was nice. And I had already ordered a Black Forest cake. So we had Black Forest cake just for the two of us. Yeah, things happen, right? And what are you going to do? Also, I am on the board of directors for a women's group here. So I've been quite involved. I'm just reading my notes here. Dogs barking in the background. I love this group of women, honestly. It's just been such a highlight in my life in the last 2 years working with them. I also do their publicity, all their marketing, their social media. And we've just started a YouTube channel. So that's kept me pretty busy. I am 80, remember? I think I told you before. So I grew up in the IT industry back in the day where we were using punch cards, and then things progressed and progressed and progressed to where we are today. So I'm very comfortable using social media, but that has taken a lot of my time, and I definitely want to wind that down next year and find somebody to help and to turn it over to. And my son helped me with creating a little app for me to help with thumbnails, because apparently a thumbnail is what attracts a person to watch the video. So hoping that works well. I had to pause the video there for a while. The man across the street came home and my dogs went crazy. Speaking of which, I did take them up to the Humane Society for their vaccinations because it is half price for what you pay at the vet. It's just astronomical. Most of the vets around our place now, they're all corporately owned, and the prices have gone up. It's outrageous. And when you have two dogs like we do, it gets expensive. Anyway, and I also had lunch with a friend of mine who used to be my neighbor around the corner. She's 85, and she moved into it's not a care facility. However, if she should need that service in years to come, she can just have it in another building. And honestly, she's just having the time of her life over there. So I'm very happy for her that she had the foresight to do that. And she doesn't have to worry about making meals or cleaning her house. All that is being taken care of for her. What else did I do? Ah, yes. The women's club that I belong to are having a sweetheart tea in February. It's an annual event and is very well attended. We sell out every year. And we had a meeting, the committee. Of course, I'm on a committee. Why not? Because I got nothing to do, right? Yes, so I'm on this committee, and the meeting was to bring the things that we were going to make. It's all handmade by the members of our group. I'm making shortbreads. And I also brought some chocolate bark. So we had an interesting tasting session where we had cucumber sandwiches and salad, scones, because that's typically British also, and a few other items that I can't remember right now. But I'm making the shortbreads. It was decided by the committee that we don't need chocolate. I made gluten-free shortbreads and shortbreads with regular flour. The gluten-free ones I kept here because I'm gluten intolerant. And I found the secret to not having them spread all over the place. And that is that you put after you roll out the dough and shape the cookies into whatever shape you want, put them on your tray and then put the tray into the freezer or refrigerator, I can't remember, for about an hour. Oh, it was the freezer. It was the freezer. Put it into the freezer for about an hour. And then when you put the tray into the oven to cook, to bake, they do not spread. Well, they spread a bit, but not much. You know, at my age, we often hear about our peers or their family member getting seriously unhealthy. And we have that with our women's group. So we try and provide support to all those people that need it, being either a member of their family that's ill or the member themselves through cards, phone calls, texts, visits, whatever it takes. Because when you become ill, especially when you're older, typically your circle of friends has diminished, sometimes significantly, and we need all the support we can get. So that was just another thing. One of the more significant things I did this past 6 days is that I started watching the Eras Tour on Disney. And I did do a short video about that. I'd only watched one episode, I think, at the time, but that woman is just so impressive, really. She writes her own music, writes the lyrics. It just seems that, and she's a smart businesswoman too. Taylor Swift, for those of you who may or may not know what the Eras Tour is all about. It's a 3.5 hour show that she did in I don't know how many countries. I think it said 61 countries. And some weekends she did three shows. Some weekends, and it was a sort of a behind the scenes thing about how she had to prepare probably 2 years in advance of when the show went on the road. The planning, the lighting, the graphics, the just everything. And then herself, she trained really, really hard physically for 6 months prior to the show. Because to be out on stage for 3.5 hours every night takes a lot of energy to do that. And thankfully, she's young and in good health, 36 years of age. I'm sure she's going to be a millionaire multi-time over, but she's also very generous with her money in supporting, well, for one thing, the Heart Association. She donates to all the food banks. This was not discussed in the documentary, but you hear of these things on the news. She gave all her dancers, her technicians, the people who drove the trucks from one location to another, she gave them all humongous bonuses. Really, I just have a new respect for that woman. Unbelievable. I guess the most significant thing that we did in the last week is we put our house on the market. We have to downsize. We tried doing it in June or July. It was on for about 6 months. We took it off the market. We have a very unique situation here where the developer is still building multiple homes, hundreds of homes, and is offering significant cash incentives for people to buy a new home as opposed to one that has been lived in the same community. So we are having to lower our price significantly and be prepared to accept even less, I'm assuming, or provide other concessions. I don't know. We have a really smart realtor this time around, and I'm confident that she's going to sell the house. But in that, when our realtor came to the house and, we were discussing all these things, and mainly I wanted to see the marketing plan, because if we get enough people in the house, someone is going to buy it. But during the 6 months that we had it listed with someone else, we had 3 viewings. Well, 3 viewings. Pretty poor. And this realtor I see all over the place. She's all over social media and has plans for a much better marketing program. So I'm confident that she's going to sell the house. But in that case, we're going to have to move. That was a big hit for me. I realized that I was going to have to give up a lot of what I had accomplished here. I have a sewing business with a lot of steady customers, the women's group, friends, and move to a new community and start over one more time. So I was not too chirpy for a day. But if I have to say so, one of my strengths is that I can accept what is and just deal with it and move on. Because really, what choice do you have in the long run? You can mope around and make yourself feel miserable, or, move on. I'm sure wherever we end up, it will definitely be in a 55 plus community. So everything works out in the long run. And you have to keep telling yourself that and believe that, which I do. That was the day before Christmas. Christmas for us was a very quiet day because my husband's family lives in England and my family lives in Canada. So there's typically just the 2 of us on Christmas Day. But I make a nice Christmas dinner. We exchange gifts moderately. You don't go crazy. And I started researching communities online where, we might be a good fit. And a couple of days ago on Saturday, this is Monday, we went south to Sarasota to an Amish community there. We like to get out once every couple of weeks, visit a new place. And when we lived in Pennsylvania, we lived very close to the Amish community down in Lancaster, where it was huge down there. They had many shops, restaurants, and in that, I don't know if it's a sector or how to explain it, but in Pennsylvania, they drove around in horse and buggy, and there was no electricity. So when you went in the shops, there was propane lanterns. Whereas here in Florida, down near Sarasota, it's called Pinecraft. It's completely different. They do drive around on bicycles, 2- and 3-wheel bicycles. We had lunch in their restaurant. The food was delicious and everyone was very, very friendly. They had 2 or 3 shops there. And I found out afterwards that not only the Amish are there, but the Mennonite people group. I'm not sure how I don't want to be disrespectful, but there are also Mennonite people there and the Amish. So that was an interesting way to spend an afternoon. We're coming to the end of actually, this is the last day, the 28th, which was yesterday. And yesterday was a day in the house for me, peeled and then dehydrated sweet potatoes for the dogs because they are allergic to everything. Sweet potatoes are healthy and they need treats, they're dogs. They behave accordingly when there's something for them. I made a whole bunch of pancakes because I find when I get up in the morning, I'm a late sleeper. I don't go to bed till midnight, so I'm not awake or up until around 9. And then I'm usually reading my emails in bed and taking a quick look at social media. So most mornings I'm having breakfast around 10 or 10:30. And if I don't have something healthy, I'll turn to cereal. So I made these pancakes and you think, oh, well, pancakes aren't really healthy, but these ones are. They have bananas. They have kefir, which is a probiotic. They have eggs. And typically I also include cottage cheese, but I didn't have cottage cheese this time around. And then a pancake mix on top of that. So now I have pancakes in the freezer and I can take out a couple in the morning and I put some fruit on it and some either honey or maple syrup. So that's something that's done. Oh, something I found really interesting. I've been on YouTube for quite a while, and recently I started doing shorts every day, or not every day, but several times a week. And shorts have to be under 3 minutes. And I'm getting hundreds and sometimes over 1,000 views on the short bits. And that's just me talking. Nothing other than what I'm doing right now, only it is in a shorter form. So I decided that I would try that for the long video and see if just listening to a week in an 80-year-old's life might be of interest to some people. I mean, I saw this on I watched episode 6 of Taylor Swift's documentary last night, and here is something that they closed the show with, or the program. And they didn't give the author of this particular quote, but it said here, everyone is jealous of what you've got. However, no one is jealous of what you had to do to get it. And isn't that true? You have to, if you're successful, when you're successful, it just doesn't happen overnight. You work and you work hard to achieve that success. I thought that was very apropos because in today's society, people want things right away. So this is the end of my long form video today. I'm going to edit it and hopefully not make it too long. This was about a 2-week episode, if you like, and I'm going to try to do it on a weekly basis and see how successful that is. And if you're interested, please subscribe. I do have a somewhat interesting life, I think. Pass along little nuggets. Thank you for listening. Please subscribe.